So the topic for today is what is Shinjin or faith? Explain the 8 elements of faith and the 8 precepts of faith as explained in Amidaji branch. And Shinjin as the cause for nirvana.
Okay. Okay, so this is indeed a very important topic, you know, and I will, since we are doing a detailed explanation of all of this, then I will try to maintain that quoting from the passages of the books of Joshua
We can
Sensei.
also do it in 2 days if is needed.
I think that will be the case, yes, because there are so many things to go here. Actually, you know, the primal vow and this topic of Shinjin is, I think, more than 40 pages long at least in the books, okay? So first of all, I want to say that if you want to study this topic and study for yourself using the Amidaji books, go to Amida Dharma, fascicle 5 in page 25 of Amida Dharma, and there is an abbreviated version of that, a summarized version of all the 8 elements of faith that is very good to as an introduction. If you want, however, to go a little bit further and have these elements be elaborated upon in more detail, then you should go to page 20 of the meaning of faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. Also, this can also be found actually in the commentary of the larger sutra that we have also mentioned, you know. But there the 8 elements of faith are explained. And the 8 precepts of faith are also there in Amida Dharma and are also in several books, and are actually the same elements, but in the form of a vow or in the form of a commitment, okay? So we will start to study this. First of all, I want just to mention the 8 elements of faith, and then we will go one by one, and we will elaborate on them, okay? So first, according to the Amidaji branch of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism, and please understand that this is to be found in the teaching of Shinran and Honen. It's not like Joshua Sensei inventing these elements. This is a way to summarize them that is very particular to our lineage. However, to a person of Shinjin or to a person of faith, all of these elements are natural. They're actually common sense. Yes, if you're a person of faith, all of these will be natural, even if you haven't read them in your whole life. Yes, a person of true faith in Amida Buddha will read this and he said, oh yes, of course. Yes, this is my life. This is what I believe. Okay. First of all, is to accept the story of Amida Buddha as told by Shakyamuni Buddha in the larger sutra, and as it is explained in this book. Okay. The second element is to wish to be born in the Pure Land for the attainment of perfect enlightenment. The third element is to have the twofold profound conviction, which means to know that you are a person of deep karmic limitations, incapable of attaining Buddhahood through your own power, and that only Amida Buddha can save you through his vow power without asking anything from you. The fifth element is to accept the primal vow of Amida Buddha without any doubt and to be sure of your birth in the Pure Land. The sixth element of faith is to accept that birth in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha takes place after death. The seventh element of faith is to say the name of Amida Buddha, or the Nembutsu. And the eighth element of faith is to not mix Nembutsu and devotion towards Amida Buddha with other faiths and practices from inside or outside of the Buddha Dharma. Okay? So let's go there to page number 20. From the meaning of faith and Nembutsu in Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. There you will find a very detailed explanation made by Joshua Sensei with passages from Shinran, Honen, Renyo, and many other, and the larger sutra as well. Okay? Okay, so the first element is the element of genuine faith, to accept the actual literal existence of Amida Buddha and his Pure Land. As we have talked before, friends, we have said that in order for us to be persons of faith, we have to have a true object of faith. Okay? So the true object, the object of our faith is the real living Amida Buddha. Yes, and the place we want to go to after death is the enlightened realm of Amida Buddha, which is Amida Buddha's Pure Land. It's very simple. Okay, Amida Buddha is outside of our samsaric minds, and he exists regardless of how many people So we have to accept that Amida Buddha is a real living being and the Pure Land a real enlightened place, because you cannot have faith in someone imaginary. Okay, you cannot have faith in Harry Potter or in, I don't know, in Hamlet or something like this. You have to have faith in a real enlightened being. Okay, and you cannot wish to be born in a place that you consider to be fictional. Yes, you cannot say I want to be born in Narnia, or I want to be born in the land of the Lord of the Rings, because these are fictional. Yes, fiction is for you to have entertainment, to have a good time, but not for religious matters. Yes? We are talking about here real things, you know. Okay, so Amida Buddha is a real enlightened being, and his Pure Land is a real enlightened place. Okay. So as Yosho Sensei says here, without accepting the actual literal existence of Amida Buddha, there can be no true faith, no true salvation, and no real birth in his Pure Land. Okay? This is, of course, common sense. It's very common sense. Many people forget this, but this is very simple. If you don't have faith in Amida Buddha as a real Buddha, then you don't have faith. If you don't consider the Pure Land to be a real enlightened place, then how can you be born there? Yes? Yes, actually, as we saw when we studied the primal vow, the only exclusion that Amida Buddha has on the or so-called exclusion in the primal vow is the self-exclusion. When people self-exclude themselves from the compassion of Amida Buddha is not going to force anybody to go to the Pure Land. You know, he's an enlightened being. He respects your choices. He respects your karma. And if you choose not to believe in him, he says, okay, I will wait until you open your heart, maybe in your next life, but he won't force you. Okay, be careful about this. Okay, the only way to exclude yourself is to self-exclude yourself by denying the Mahayana Sutras and by denying that Amida Buddha is a real enlightened being. Yes, Honen Shonin said, Amida Buddha fulfilled the 48 vows and established the Pure Land. He always listens to a person who utters his name. You know, he says, Amida Buddha never fails to hear you, regardless of time and circumstances. Yes. This also says Honen. Honen also says, this is a very beautiful passage. He says, when sentient beings constantly and reverently prostrate themselves before Amida Buddha with their body, Amida Buddha will see them. When they arouse themselves to practice and to always recite with their lips the name of Amida Buddha will hear them. When they constantly think of Amida Buddha in their hearts, Amida Buddha will think of them. In these three kinds of karmic acts, Amida Buddha and sentient beings are not separate from each other. Yes, in the sense that they have an intimate relationship, like father and mother. Okay, hence they are called intimate karmic relations. You know, therefore, if you hold a rosary or a japa mala or an enju, Amida Buddha will see it. If you think in your mind to recite the Nembutsu, Amida Buddha will, in his mind, think of you. Okay. This is very important for us to understand. We have a personal relationship with Amida Buddha as with your father, your mother, your best friend. He's real. Yes, he's even more real than you. Okay, and Amida Buddha, when you have devotion towards Amida Buddha will see you. Yes, so Amida Buddha is constantly before us. Yes, and you can have a relationship with Amida Buddha. You cannot have a relationship with a symbol. So this is very important. In this passage, Honen reveals the way we should see Amida Buddha. We should see him as an enlightened person. Okay. An enlightened person, yes, a living enlightened being that is outside of samsara, but is nevertheless a person, okay? It's very important for us to understand this, because even at the time of Honen and Shinran, there were many Buddhist traditions that saw in Amida Buddha also some kind of symbol of the enlightened Buddha nature, or some kind of potential of your own mind. This is not the way that Honen talked about Amida Buddha, yes? This is the way that Honen told it. We are a faith-oriented tradition. Innocent faith towards a real enlightened being. Okay, Amida Buddha is always in front of us. He says, Yosho Sensei, seeing us, hearing us. This is not a metaphor, but the truth. Yes, remember when we explained the Trikaya, Amida Buddha is in three places at the same time. In his ultimate Dharmakaya, beyond form, yes, which is the body that all Buddhas share from the 10 directions, and two, in his Pure Land, in Sambhogakaya form, and third, in the infinite number of transformed bodies or Nirmanakayas all over the universe. Okay, so he's right here, right now. Yes, he's in his Pure Land, in his Sambhogakaya form, and he has various accommodated bodies. Yes, that he spreads throughout all of the universe to preach the Dharma, okay? If you have some doubts about the Trikaya, you could go to the video in our description and also in our playlist where you can go and study this matter because, of course, this is a whole topic on itself. Yes. However,
I'll also put a link in the description of this video towards the article, the specific article in
yes.
which I explain the three Buddha bodies.
Yes, you can also go to Amidaji website. There are also several articles about the Trikaya and the two Buddha body. However, remember that Amida Buddha is in three places at the same time. In his Pure Land, in the Sambhogakaya, in the Dharmakaya, which is actually in the whole universe, in whole existence at the same time, and in the Nirmanakayas, which are different accommodated bodies that Amida Buddha sends to manifest according to the level of understanding of each sentient being and its necessities. Shakyamuni Buddha said in the Contemplation Sutra, he says, Amitayus exercising supernatural powers at will can freely manifest his various forms in the lands of the 10 directions. Okay? A Buddha Amitayus of Amida possesses 84,000 physical characteristics, each having 84,000 secondary marks of excellence. Each secondary marks emits 84,000 rays of light. Each ray of light shines universally upon the lands of the 10 directions, embracing and not forsaking those who are mindful of the Buddha. Okay, so Amida Buddha, from his Pure Land, he emanates countless rays of light, countless, Nirmanakayas, and his message of the primal vow, which is the light of Amida Buddha, the message of the primal vow for all beings to hear when they are ready karmically to hear that vow. Okay, so when we are reading the primal vow with a very devotional heart, we are in the presence of the light of Amida Buddha, and Amida Buddha is teaching us the Dharma right in front of us, okay? If we are open to receive that. So we should always think of Amida Buddha as a real living being. Now I want to share an experience of a student that I have, and he has read a lot of Buddhist philosophy. He has read lots of things about emptiness, lots of things about, epistemology and very hard topics. And when he found Jodo Shinshu and Pure Land Buddhism, he wanted to treat Jodo Shinshu or Amida Buddha like an equation, like mathematics or like a symbol or something like the Madhyamika philosophy. And I told him, abandon this mentality. You cannot have a relationship with Amida Buddha the same way you have relationship towards an idea. You have to be devotional towards Amida Buddha, and you have to have a devotional relationship with a living being. And since I said that to him, it dawned on him that he was approaching this the wrong way. You have to first see Amida Buddha as a living being, and every time you grab a text, yes, you hold it in front of your mind, of your head, and you say to Amida Buddha, please help me to understand this text, and please guide me towards faith. If you do that, even if you yourself don't have faith, then it will have a lot of power, because Amida Buddha will then use this devotion that you are trying to have for him, and he will guide you himself. There is no better teacher than Amida Buddha himself. Okay, so it's very important for us, even before reading anything about it's better for us to read it with our mind, but also have devotion in our hearts and try to read it with respect. Yes, Dharma books and sacred texts are not mundane texts. They are not like novels. They are not like mundane philosophy, or they are not produced by human beings. These are the most important texts in the whole universe. Yes, and they are produced by the enlightened minds, enlightened beings. Yes, and we should venerate them, and we should have this attitude of a devotion. Yes, before anything else. Especially, and this goes by to all schools. All schools of Buddhism should do this, and especially us who are a devotional school. Yes, faith-oriented. So it's very important for us to do this. Yes, and to please paste the words of Honen Shonin in our minds and hearts, that Amida Buddha is always hearing us. Amida Buddha is always taking care of us, and that Amida Buddha is a real living being. Yes. If you treat Amida Buddha like an idea, you will never have Shinjin. It's impossible to have Shinjin if you consider Amida Buddha to be a symbol of whatever, or even Buddha nature. That is just completely useless in Jodo Shinshu. In Jodo Shinshu, you have to have intimacy, karmic intimate connection with Amida Buddha. This is of paramount importance. If you have this, then Amida Buddha himself will teach you everything you need to know. Okay, it's very important. Okay. And also, not only Amida Buddha, but also the creation or the masterpiece of Amida Buddha, which is the Pure Land, okay? So if we have faith in Amida Buddha, it's natural that we have faith in the place that he built for us, the place that he created, yes, for us, okay? So his Pure Land is real, enlightened place where you will actually be reborn after death, after the death of this physical body. And Amida Buddha wishes to save us all, but he doesn't take us to his Pure Land by force. So if we do not wish to go there, or we do not accept the existence of that enlightened realm or the existence of Amida Buddha himself, then we will not go there. Okay, as I mentioned before, nobody can go to a place which he thinks doesn't exist, and nobody can be saved by someone who is considered an imaginary person. Okay, you cannot be saved by a figment of your imagination. You can be saved by a real enlightened being, the same way that you can be saved by your brother or by your friend from an accident. He can pull you, he can save you. Yes? The same way Amida Buddha can do the same, but he will save you from the accident of samsara. Yes, he will take you out of samsara. He can save you. Yes, but you have to accept that he is real. Yes, to have this karmic intimate connection with him. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is that Shakyamuni Buddha made great efforts, and we will see that in the other elements of faith. Yes, made great efforts to describe the Pure Land. Okay, describing the beauty there, you know, in the Amida Ki or the larger Sutra Amida. I mean, as Joshua Sensei says, it's like Shakyamuni is in a trance, you know. Oh, there are Shariputra or Ananda. There are so many good things there. There are pavilions. There are the stairs of gold. There are trees made of diamonds.
It's enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic.
Shakyamuni Buddha describes the Pure Land in a very enthusiastic manner, especially
Yes.
in the smaller Amida Sutra. He repeats the name of Shariputra many times, like I would tell you, look, Kosho, the things are so beautiful there. It has this and that and that. Kosho, look, listen to me. Is this and that beautiful? Kosho, do you hear me? Kosho,
Yes,
it's
yes.
so nice there.
So
You
it's
should
like
go
a
there.
person it's like a person so passionate. It's like
Yes,
a person who went to the best place on your vacation and he said, "Oh, it's so beautiful." He's
yes.
not telling you this, so you can say, "Oh, that's an interesting theory." No, you say, I want to go there. I want to go
If
there and see.
Shakyamuni himself is
Yes.
so passionate about the Pure Land and Amida Buddha, and he is even showing Amida Buddha and his Pure Land to the audience who gathered together to listen to the larger sutra. And then he asked Ananda, did you see Amida Buddha? Yes, I saw it. Did you see the Pure Land? Yes, I saw it. Did you hear the sounds of the Pure Land? Yes, I saw. I heard. So that's
Yes.
very important.
Yeah, Joshua Sensei is referring here to the sections 41, 42, 43 of the larger sutra, which I highly recommend that you read. It's beautiful there, where Amida Buddha himself appears by request of Ananda. Ananda said to Shakyamuni, he said, "I want to see that Buddha that you speak about." And Shakyamuni Buddha said, "Oh, yes, okay." So then he invited and then Amida Buddha appeared before the whole audience. How can you say that this is symbol? This is happened in front of Ananda, Shariputra, Maitreya, and all of these great bodhisattvas, Mahayana bodhisattvas, and all of the audience there. Yes. So this means that Shakyamuni Buddha, what this reveals, yes, as Shinran and Yosho Sensei says here in the book, what this reveals is that Shakyamuni Buddha had great interest, had a great passion for us to see that the Pure Land of Amida Buddha is real, and that Amida Buddha is real, and that we should be born in the Pure Land. I think that's one of the key messages of the larger sutra, but more of that later, because of course we will quote the larger sutra in the following elements of faith. I don't know if maybe
it's very important. So Shakyamuni says, I have expounded this teaching or this sutra for the sake of sentient beings and enabled you to see Amida and all in his land. So strive to do what you should. After I have passed into nirvana, do not allow doubts to arise. So Shakyamuni Buddha said, I showed you Amida Buddha. Receive the teaching that I gave you about Amida Buddha. Do not allow doubts to arise. That's very important. This is a sutra that should be accepted in faith. Yes. And the teaching, the whole teaching about Amida Buddha is to be accepted in faith.
I'd like to comment that You know, best way to know that Amida is real is to experience him personally. Once you encounter Amida in a very real way in your personal life, there's no way to go back. I mean, once I knew what is referred to by our masters as the one thought moment of faith, you realize this is not a concept. This is not a mythological being. The Pure Land is an actual place. And I think, like you and me, Josho Sensei, we're talking about someone we knew who was a great Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. He was part of a sangha I had belonged to. He was one of the moderators and built this wonderful website that tells you all you need to know about Jodo Shinshu Buddhism. And he's now a Christian because his focus was not on Amida. It was on politics, political correctness, whatnot. And I think a lot of people get distracted. And I think that's the main problem with receiving Amida's gift of Shinjin. You don't achieve it on your own, but you have to come to a point where you're open to accepting the message that Amida is clearly giving you, that I am real, I am the Buddha of infinite light and life. The Pure Land is real, but you've got to be open to that. And as Josho Sensei says, you've got to empty your cup. And like Kosho Sensei says, you've got to get rid of your preconceived ideas of what it means to be a Buddhist. Jodo Shinshu is a devotion, faith-based form of Buddhism. And that's one of the adjustments I had to make before I was willing to see it through the lens of faith. And my suggestion would also be to get rid of books like Tricycle and others, because that's not a faith-based form of Buddhist ideology. It's more agenda-based. But that's all I had to say.
That's many modernists who wear the robes of or kesas of Jodo Shinshu school. They try to transform the simple faith-oriented Jodo Shinshu teaching into a more Zen-like, or to resemble more of other schools, because they can't follow Jodo Shinshu as it is. That's why, because they can't have faith. That's why they try to transform this simple teaching to be more Zen-like, more sophisticated than it needs to be. And yes, about faith, as you said, Joshi, I also say that faith or Shinjin has its own knowing. If you have faith in Amida Buddha, you know he is real. No matter what other people would say, scholars, scientists, and so on will say, you know that Amida Buddha is a real Buddha, real living, enlightened person that you can depend on. A Christian friend once told me, what if Jesus will come in the sky? You know, would you accept him as your savior? I said, no, I still trust to Amida Buddha. Even if the rocks will say that there is no Amida Buddha, and everything around me will say there is no Amida Buddha, and many manifestations would appear, I will still say Namo Amida Buddha in faith. Yes.
You're a lot more polite than I am. If Jesus came back, I'd say, okay, where were you when I was a Christian?
Yeah, no, so. you would teach Jesus Amida Dharma.
I would.
You say
and
Jesus
try to turn his mind towards the true faith.
You would say
I'd say you're late.
You're a deluded guru, Jesus. I will teach you now how to abandon evil ways and trust yourself to Amida.
You know I would.
Yeah. No, to be honest, yeah, true. I mean, I'm not kidding. This is what I would do.
Yes.